Welcome in. Welcome in. It's the day after Christmas. We have a horrible football game happening right now between the Seahawks and the Bears. Just absolutely ugly. Uh, Good old 6-3 ball game here. Love that. Great for people that are in the fantasy championship this week that are, or maybe it is good for if you're playing against somebody that has these guys. But we are here to answer questions, get you guys ready to go for the fantasy championship this weekend. Really spread out because no games tomorrow. And then we have 3 on Saturday. Then 8 or 9 on Sunday, and then another one on Monday. So, and of course, some of the best games are on prime time. So, anyways, let's get to some of these questions we have here. We're going to answer every single one of them before we get out of here. And in case people are wondering, Cody is up in Pennsylvania this week doing Christmas stuff. So I got one of the DFS boys to come over and join me and help me answer questions.
Sir.
Got Maddie here to help out. So, anyways, let's get to it. Bryce Long, start 2, Garrett Wilson, Juwan Jennings, or Cooper Kupp.
Wilson and Jennings for me. I can't trust Kupp right now. 6 targets in the last 2 games, even though he's playing Arizona. I mean, you got Wilson against Buffalo. They're going to have to throw the ball. And Jennings against Detroit. They're going to have to throw the ball. And it's not awful matchups either.
Yeah, and you would typically go into this spot saying, when you talk about this game, like you typically say, okay, well, Cooper Kupp typically plays the slot, but that's not what Sean McVay's been doing recently. He's actually been pushing, Cooper Kupp out of the slot to get, if that's the more viable matchup, to get Puka Nacua, in that spot. So you can't even make that case anymore with Cooper Kupp. But of course, Cooper Kupp, always has that opportunity. But I think I would agree with you. I think I would go with Garrett Wilson and Juwan Jennings here on this one. Just too tough to trust Cooper Kupp here in this spot. So, yeah. And then Simp, Tua Richardson or Bryce Young. Full PPR, Tracy London, Tajay, pick one, and then Henry or Kincaid going for the chip.
It's Richardson if he's in against the Giants. I mean, I don't know how you sit that guy. But if he's out, it's pretty clearly Bryce Young over Tua for me. Bryce Young gets Tampa. Tua's just not been great. Tua's on the road in Cleveland. I'm good. I'll pass on that.
Yeah, there's some real weather concerns there for that Miami game. Looks like for that game. So that's something to keep in mind as well when it comes to that game. But I would agree with you. I think it is Anthony Richardson if he plays. He did miss practice again today, but I mean this is a pretty big game. They're obviously still in the playoff hunt. I mean, I guess you could go to Joe Flacco if you had to against the Giants. I mean, I don't think you're that concerned with it. You just have a monster Jonathan Taylor day there. But I think if Richardson plays, you do go Richardson. If it's not Richardson, I would go with Bryce Young. He would actually be number 2. I like Bryce Young a lot here in this spot against the Bucs. It's one of the best, or one of the best defenses you want to face. The quarterback, a lot of the most fantasy points quarterbacks this year. Bryce Young is looking, much better than what he has. He's starting to run the ball a little bit too, which is not something that's been a part of his game. But the last time UC teams faced, he scored 24 fantasy points. He was the QB 8 on the week whenever he did. And then last week, he's coming off his best game of the year where he scored 27 fantasy points. But so I think for me, it'd be a clear cut. If Anthony Richardson doesn't play, I would go to Bryce Young. And then on the other one, full PPR, Tracy London or Tajay. I don't know. I don't think Tyrone Tracy's going to play at this point.
Yeah, honestly, I would even rank him 3rd, even if he does play. I mean, Tajay has seen ridiculous PPR usage. And they've got they're playing Jacksonville, so they might not necessarily be trailing in that game, but I think it's pretty clearly London for me. I mean, Penix is a massive upgrade over what we've seen out of Cousins this year. Like Penix can sling it, and the Falcons didn't need to throw it at all in the last game. So I think London against Washington is a really good play.
The only thing I'll say with that game, so just looking at the weather this weekend, there's 3 games. The Roto Grinders right now has orange. One is the Jets and the Bills game, which is rain is likely with potential for heavy rainfall. Miami, Cleveland is the other one, rain likely, potential for heavy rainfall. And then Atlanta at Washington is the other one, rain likely, and it could potentially be heavy. So that's going to be something to monitor. I don't typically mind that much about rain, but if it's like significant rainfall, I do think that impacts the game.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, that forecast can certainly change between now and then, obviously, but yeah, it's usually wind for me that impacts passing attacks.
Yeah, and the wind's not that big of a deal in this game.
Yeah, so
It's only
I
about
wouldn't come
85
off it
miles
for
an
the
hour.
rain personally.
I think I would agree with you. I still would probably go with Drake London here in this matchup. Obviously, a must-win game for the Falcons. Pretty big game for, and it's not as big of a deal for the Commanders, but the Falcons certainly, if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive, they're going to need that. So I would go with Drake London as well. And then at tight end, I think I would lock in Hunter Henry and his usage there with this offense. It's hard to ever trust anybody in the Bills passing attack just because of how much they spread the ball around. So I think I would go with Hunter Henry here.
I agree, and Drake May is totally capable of putting up points. So
Yeah, I mean, if you just look, I mean, since week 11, he has seen 9 targets, 8 targets, 9 targets, 4 targets, and 8 targets. So I mean, he's seeing the usage he's getting the opportunities. Now, if they're always catchable
and the
targets,
Chargers defense has been horrendous over the last couple of weeks.
yeah, yeah, and they may be they're already without Gus Edwards in that game. They may not have J.K. Dobbins. I can't imagine if they do have J.K. Dobbins, they're going to really utilize him that much. So you could be looking at Hassan Haskins and Kamani Vidal as the running backs there in that game. So it could be a really heavy pass game script on that one.
Yeah, I would agree. Henry over Kincaid.
And then picked up Zacchaeus if London does get ruled out. I think London probably plays.
I think London plays too.
Let's see, as of today, yeah, Drake London says he is definitely playing in week 17. Yeah, because whenever it first had happened, and when they talked about it, they had said that it wasn't anything that serious, and they were up by so much. There was no reason for him to go out there and play. So I think he'll be fine. I expect Drake London to play.
I agree.
So, good luck, Simp. Get that dub.
Yeah, get the ship.
Bruneel, what up, guys? Which 2 wide receivers would I start? BTJ, Terry, AJ Brown, Cup, full PPR. Already have JSN locked in. So you need significant upside because right now it's not looking great for JSN.
Let's see. BTJ, Tennessee. Terry gets Atlanta. Is there any update on Hurts?
It doesn't sound like he's going to play. He still has not practiced.
Okay.
By this point, if he hasn't at least gotten in the limited practice, I don't see how he plays.
So then I would probably go. Well, I'd probably go Brian Thomas and Terry.
See, and I might be crazy on this, but I actually think that not having Jalen Hurts could be an upgrade for AJ Brown.
It could.
Because in the way that I see it, not that I think that Kenny Pickett is as good as Jalen Hurts is. It's not what I think. But I just think with his running potential, and especially once we get to the goal line, all these different things that come with having Jalen Hurts out there, where you instead of when you have Kenny Pickett who has to stand back there and throw the ball, it becomes a lot more of a traditional offense. And things happen like we saw last week when he saw 15 targets because Kenny Pickett just peppers them the ball. And they only have him and Devonta Smith to throw the ball to. And so it's not like that, they have Dallas Goedert and all these other guys out there. So when I look at this situation, like I actually think like it could be a positive. But it really comes down to how they play. I mean, because Dallas defense has played a lot better in recent weeks.
Yeah, they've been good.
This isn't the same Dallas defense that we typically, wanted to target earlier in the year. But it does worry me a little bit. But I think I would agree with you here because I love Brian Thomas. And I love Terry McLaurin here in this spot. You attack Atlanta with wide receivers, especially most importantly outside wide receivers. So I think Terry and Brian Thomas. I think I would go there. As crazy as it sounds to sit AJ Brown, I think it might be a spot. If I was going to sit one of them, it would be Brian Thomas, and I'd play AJ Brown. But it does worry me with that situation there.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's a tough call.
And I think just off too, just I guess following up on that, because like I said, I mean, you're unless something crazy happens with this game, which there's still 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I mean, something could happen with JSN, but if JSN's day continues to look like it is, like you need the absolute ceiling here, which I think with those three they can all provide it. I would argue that AJ Brown probably has a path to a higher ceiling just because it's AJ Brown. So maybe then you'd go AJ Brown and Terry, but I mean BTJ the last couple of weeks has put up 25 to 28 fantasy points anyway. So like he's shown that ability to be able to get you there. So
Yeah.
anyways. I need help. I'm in the championship. Don't know who to start. My flex from Wilson. Which two do I start out of? Tajay Spears, Devonta Smith, Jalen McMillan, Jaden Reed, or Kamani Vidal? Or take Bigsby. So with Vidal, like it becomes interesting because with him, we just saw, like I said, Gus Edwards may not play. J.K. Dobbins right now is questionable to play if they're going to put him out there. I mean, they've already clinched the playoff spot, I believe. So, or they're pretty damn well in. But and they're playing the Patriots. The only thing that worries me with Vidal is that do they go with Hassan Haskins if J.K. Dobbins is out? Like, how sure are we that it's going to be Vidal is going to be like the lead back?
Yeah, I'm just playing. I mean, I'm playing the two receivers, McMillan and Reed, regardless. Like, I think McMillan is he's the new 1B in that offense behind Evans, and they're playing Carolina. And then Jaden Reed already put up 30 points against Minnesota earlier this year because you can't run on Minnesota, and so you have to be able to throw the ball. And Reed becomes a lot of high percentage, close to the line of scrimmage type of plays for him. Becomes an extension of the run game. So I like McMillan and Reed personally, even if Vidal is, even if Edwards and Dobbins don't play.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. I think I go Jalen McMillan and Jaden Reed. And the game sets up really well for Jaden Reed. I know Jaden Reed has been a big disappointment for the most part this year, but it's also a lot of it's just because the Packers really haven't had to throw the ball as much. Like if you allow them to, they will not throw the ball. And I do agree with you that this is definitely a spot where they're going to have to throw the ball a lot in this game against the Vikings. And they are one of the top run defenses in the league. So, and I think you could probably see them use Jaden Reed in a lot of different ways to get the ball in their hands quickly because the pressure that the Vikings bring. And so I think it sets up well for him. We may also not get Christian Watson in that game, which kind of solidifies things a little bit more for Jaden Reed as well, helps him out a little more in that department. So, because it does sound like Christian Watson is pretty questionable at best. So yeah, I think I agree with you. I think I'd go Reed McMillan. We buy homes near you in standard. Start one running back, one flex. Pollard, Spears, Garindo, Rashad White, Ford, Vidal, or Jaden Reed. So the starting Jane Daniels, Justin Jefferson, London McBride, Brees Hall.
Definitely Reed in the flex for sure. We just talked about him. So then you got to pick a running back. Let's see. Tennessee's got Jacksonville. I like Pollard personally. San Francisco's got they're the night game. They've got Detroit. You can't really run on Detroit. I don't really like that matchup. And then Bucky's the guy there, and I don't trust Ford against Miami. We talked about it last week in DFS. You can't really play running backs against Miami either. So yeah, I would go Pollard and Jay Reed.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. I do like Garindo. I don't mind this spot. The Lions' run defense has started to fall apart a little bit recently. Some of the issue has just been they've been boat racing everybody, and so it's caused them to you really don't get to run the ball against them because they're just so heavily ahead. And when it comes to Garindo, like he, as we've seen, whenever he's healthy, that he gets an absolute workhorse role. So I think on this one, I would actually go Garindo and Jaden Reed. I don't mind the spot for Pollard, but Pollard is pretty banged up. We've seen Tyjae Spears start to mix in a little bit more and become more of an issue for him. And so I think I would go with Garindo, thinking with the mindset of that he's going to be the workhorse back in this offense. He's involved in the passing game as well. And then, like we've already talked about, Jaden Reed. So I think I would go with those two. For me, it'd be Garindo and Jaden Reed for me. And then if JK is ruled out, should I start Vidal or London? I would still go London here.
I would go London also.
I will say though,
is Garindo projected to play? Because I'm not seeing him on my list of projections for the weekend. It's got Patrick Taylor.
well, he is. Yeah, he was limited at practice today. So
okay.
So that was. I know Shanahan said last week that after last week's game that he was expected to return to practice this week, and they would see how he does. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see if he's even able to play or not. But yeah, he's limited right now. So and then should I start Vidal or London? When it comes to London, though, are you worried at all about Marshawn Lattimore completely shadowing him?
No, I mean AJ Brown just nuked Lattimore last week.
True.
I mean, he's been hurt all year. So I mean, are we really sure that he's either A, fully healthy, or B, up to his prior to injury talents?
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I just think I think Washington's going to score 1 million points against Atlanta, and so Atlanta's going to have to throw the ball. I mean, Atlanta's defense isn't very good, and Washington just hung 35 on Philly, who has been an unbelievably good defense.
Yeah. Yeah, this game is so brutally bad.
It's awful. 6-3 pillow fight.
I know we thought I remember we thought the 49ers and Rams game last Thursday night was bad.
Yeah.
This game makes it even look even worse.
Way worse.
I think I missed this. Simp, have AJ and Saquon. Would it be any benefit to getting Pickett to stack or just stick with Richardson or Bryce? Yeah, I don't think I would play Pickett.
No, I would absolutely play Richardson if he's in, and Bryce if Richardson's not in. I wouldn't go Pickett.
I get the thought process of the stack, but I feel like if Saquon were to go nuclear, it's likely through the ground, it's probably not as much through the air. And so then that would pretty much take away from anything that Kenny Pickett did. And AJ Brown could still have a really solid day, go 6 for 90, and not score a touchdown and not bring Pickett along with him.
Or AJ Brown can go for 120 and 2, and Pickett goes for 170 and 2.
Yeah.
But then you've got Anthony Richardson running for 100 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns and throwing for another 250, and so I just think, I think it can the entire offense can funnel through Saquon and AJ Brown where it doesn't take the quarterback with it.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with you. So yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, because I mean this slate it's gotten kind of like a little gross just because of some of the injuries that we've had, and now some of these game environments that we've had. Because like the Texans game, well, love to see that. John also have Jonathan Taylor. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I think he absolutely. I mean, he obviously went nuclear last week. I think he continues that against the Giants. The Giants' run defense has been absolutely disgusting. And that team was just an absolute mess. I'm almost happy. Won't have to worry about playing these guys anymore, like in DFS or anything like that. Because it's gross, and it's sad because they actually have some. I mean, obviously Malik Neighbors we know is a baller, but he's heavily limited because of the quarterback play. And then I do think Tyrone Tracy's a player. I think he's a real deal. But they need a quarterback, and thankfully, as long as they don't pull a Raiders and fuck this up, which is hilarious that Antonio Pierce tried to make it out no, dude, you guys fucked this up. You guys were in the running for at worst the number 2 overall pick. And now you fall to 6, and now they get a spot against the the Saints, where they're going to be without most of their guys. It looks like Chris Olave could play. He's practicing full both days. But either way, like they could entirely win again this week and completely take themselves out of. And like I was looking at it, and basically like for them to trade back, I mean they'd have to trade. Obviously, they'd swap this year's picks. Then they'd give up the 2026 first. They'd give up probably this year's second and probably another like fourth round pick. They have to give up all these picks, and they all because they won one game. Well, that game. Like none of this was worth it. Like you were right there to be able to get a franchise quarterback, and there's only really two in this upcoming draft as of right now. Looks like Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, and that's all you got. And they completely fucked this up. Like it's just the Raiders being the Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders being the Raiders. That's right.
Yeah. Hey, Harry Love, I'm in the championship. Lamar scored 35. Things you love to see at the flex. I have a choice of Kupp, DK, Mooney, Garendo, or J.K. Dobbins. Who do you start? Starting Tyreek and BTJ at wide receiver 1 and 2. Achane and Aaron Jones RB1, and then Bowers at tight end. We don't have to worry about DK.
Well, DK's playing currently.
Yeah, and you dodged both there if you didn't play him. So, so then it's Kupp, Mooney, Garendo, J.K. Dobbins. I think this is Garendo for me if he plays.
I don't know. I kind of like Mooney. I'm on the Falcons. I mean, it was Mooney in London. I mean, that's who it should be. It should never be Kyle Pitts. Never again.
It's going to be next year. Like it's going to be best ball season and redraft, and everyone's going to start hyping up Kyle Pitts again.
Nope. I'll send you the highlight of him pitching the ball to the opposing defender from last week.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
It's so bad. Yeah, I'll go Mooney.
Yeah. All right. I'll go Garendo here if he plays. If he doesn't, then I would probably go Mooney. So you'll have a backup option anyways for whatever.
Yeah.
Because Garendo, he doesn't play Monday night.
And Mooney's the late game.
We should know by then if he's going to play. I doubt if he's like there's any question that he's not going to play. I would just go with Mooney. I think it's pretty close. Is the way that I would play it because I mean Garendo does play Monday.
Well, you'll know because Mooney's the last game of the week.
Mooney plays on Sunday Night Football.
Oh, San Fran's the Monday game.
Yeah,
I don't know why I thought it's next week that doesn't have the Monday night game.
Yeah.
So if there's any question, yeah, I agree. You just play Mooney on Sunday night.
Yeah, which we should have.
You don't want a 0.
Yeah, and maybe you just go with it the mindset of in this scenario that maybe you just say fuck it and don't play Garendo because I mean they're obviously the 49ers aren't playing for anything at this point, and if anything were to happen to him, they probably would just pull him, or maybe he's like a limited play. So I don't know. Maybe when I talk about it, maybe at that point, maybe you don't mess around with it and just go with the safer play and probably the better, maybe one with a little bit or a similar upside. All right. Sip, Richardson, JT, Saquon, AJ, London, BTJ, Henry, Pickens, Riker, and Colts. These what I'm rolling with. Pickens set me back yesterday.
That's a good team.
Yeah, they'll all say, I mean, Pickens' day could have been better. But I don't know. Like I don't know what the Steelers' deal is with picking wide receivers that just aren't good character fits because Pickens yesterday just looked like he was pissed for most of the day, throwing a fit, sulking on the sidelines. Like he has so much talent, but like he just can't get out of his own way sometimes when it comes to that. But I don't know. He's also just been really unlucky this year. But either way, this is still a really good team.
It's a really good team. That team should win 100%.
Especially with JT and Saquon.
Yeah, JT against the Giants, Saquon against Cowboys. Yeah, I mean, BTJ, he's a beast. Yeah, that team's sick. I like it.
By the way, I don't know if you said, did your best ball team make it through?
No, it did not. It came in like 14th out of the 16 teams. Not great. I didn't have my team did fine. Like I had Goff, who obviously threw for 300 yards and a couple touchdowns, but I didn't have Jamison Williams stacked with him. I had Amon Ra. My tight ends didn't do anything. My running backs didn't do anything. I didn't have JT. I just didn't have any of the big scores that you needed.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to focus more on best ball this offseason.
Best ball is a lot of fun.
I mean, I've been playing best ball since like the fan draft days, I think it was, or fan ball or whatever it was, like years and years ago. But I've always just like dabbled with it and like played light. I'll play here and there. I'll usually draft a couple teams before the draft. So then I'll, right after the draft, I'll draft some teams, and I'll wait right until like August, and I'll draft some more. But I think I'm gonna try to go way more into it this year, like especially with all the offerings they have for it now, and
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
it's growing
It's good.
considerably.
It's fun. It's a fun
So-
sweat. I mean, 13 weeks, and then once you get to past week 13, right? Every week matters. Or after week 14 is 15, 16, and 17 are the playoffs.
Yeah,
So it's like you sweat it every week.
I mean, we should start seeing best ball for next year. I mean, I think underdog probably in the next couple weeks, because usually I
Yeah.
think it's like mid-January.
Yeah,
Well,
I personally wait as late as I can to draft because need all the information as possible. But yeah, they will re-release some new contests. They've also got playoff best ball. That's fun too.
Yeah, I feel like it's like forces you though to like you have to pick players that are like playing in the divisional run, and you can't pick as many players going like the
Yes and no. I mean, you need players in the Super Bowl. The trick is just getting those two teams right.
Yeah. So this game's so bad. So bad.
I mean, no touchdowns.
Do you know how hard it is? So like but I mean, see games like this where there's no touchdown scored.
I mean, it's not like these aren't like two just abysmal, quarterbacks or offenses.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No. I would not have thought this. And especially playing the Bears. I mean, come on. Like, what are we doing?
Right.
We can't even get a couple rushing touchdowns. Wouldn't mind that.
That would be good.
Brutal. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as like injuries concerned, like there's not like we're still monitoring like the James Conner situation. Like maybe he plays tomorrow. He's gotten in limited practices so far, and Jonathan Cannon said that he's made good progress. So, like it sounds like Connor might play. I wouldn't trust it. I don't think. Like if you had him in a redraft championship game, would you trust? Would you play him if he plays? Knowing the
depends
Cardinals
what the
are out of
other
it?
options are. Probably not. Is Benson back?
Benson right now, he's also questionable. I don't know if he's practiced yet or not, though.
If Benson's back, that obviously makes it a little murkier because they could, like you said, I mean, this late in the season, they could just, opt to run Benson out there.
Yeah. Flex spot, Tajay Spears, Debo, or Tony Pollard. It's Debo for me.
I don't want to say Debo, but I'm going to.
So with him, like he's been more involved recently, like especially last week was his best game that he's played in quite some time. Like it's actually the first game I think he's had like over actually I can tell you why. Because I wrote him up for one of my top wide receiver plays this week. Where's it at? And just the matchup sets up really well for him here, this and this spot, especially because so the Lions are obviously something we know as a slot funnel, and um, for the most part, that is where Debo typically plays the most at. Juwan Jennings does play there as well, but just the way that they tend to deploy him is the way they've started to deploy him. I really so it like I said, like he's become like their number one again finally, and I just this game has shootout potential, and so I really like Debo Samuel this week. Like I said, he was somebody that I was going to talk about as a wide receiver that I think that that can win you your week this week. So I do like Debo Samuel.
Yeah, it's Debo for me out of that group for sure. I agree. I mean, he finally got a heavy usage last week. 9 targets, 5 carries.
Yeah, which is something we've been kind of waiting for, but
we've been waiting for it,
Yeah, he's been
Especially
rough because prior to last week, he hadn't scored more than what is it like 6? Yeah, you have to go way back to week 10 because he scored 6, 3, 4, 6, and 5 in all those games. Then finally he pops off for 25 last week, 7 for 96, and a score, 5 carries for 25 yards. So yeah.
Yep. He's been bad this year.
Yeah. And thank you guys for the insights following the championship game in the Family and Friends League, Talk Smack League.
Let's go.
Now you just got to complete the mission. Job's not finished, like Kobe said.
That's right.
Job's not finished. What's there to be happy about? Job's not finished. So, well, all right. Well, I guess this is a quick one this week, which to be expected, I guess. When it's week 17. So, but I guess we'll get out of here. You got all the questions answered. This is easy for you. You got off the hook.
That's right. I'm off the hook.
Normally, whenever, like I said, it's me and Cody, it's normally like a 2.5 hour stream. Do you think BTJ will be a first round pick next season in fantasy? A first round pick, no. Second, third round pick, yes. For sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like we were talking a little bit about like some of the we've talked a little bit about like some stuff for next year, like where some of these players are going to slot in, and and like who are the best rookie wide receivers this year. Like I think there's a real case to be made, or maybe it doesn't even need to be a case need to be made, but I think Brian Thomas is the number one rookie wide receiver this year. Obviously, just out of pure production, he's pretty much been that. Lad McConkey's been really good. I think better than some people might have expected from him. And then I think that Malik Neighbors. I think they're going to draft Cam Ward. If they get the number 1 overall, you can see Shedeur Sanders here. Still in the 8th round for me. Yeah, I have him on my home league keeper league team as well. Somebody that I'll definitely be keeping next year. Him and I was trying to him and Chase Brown. I think were the 2 most important guys that I was able to pick from there. But yeah, I mean, Malik Neighbors, I think with better quarterback play, obviously is it definitely the conversation. I think there's no question that Malik Neighbors is a baller. It's just how dysfunctional that offense has been this year. And then I think that the other area that you would look at would be what's wrong with Marvin Harrison. And I think some of it is he's just not a good stylistic fit with how Kyler Murray plays. And I think that's a problem.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, who's the 11 players you would rank over BTJ?
Wide receivers.
Well, I mean, if just first round pick, it's 11 players at any position, but which is typically running back and receiver in the first round.
Let me see. It's gonna be tough to. You'd put, I mean, Saquon, I think, is going to be ahead of him. Bijan Robinson will go ahead of him.
What about Gibbs?
Probably Gibbs, I think, as well. I would, in terms of wide receivers, I think Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson,
Puka,
Devon Achane probably could end up being a first round pick next year. Should be.
Amon-Ra.
What
are you doing with AJ? What about AJ Brown?
He probably goes ahead of him as well. I would assume.
That's close.
And then there's conversations to be had about Kyren Williams, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the list, I mean, there's an argument to be made. He could be a back half of the first ranking.
Possibly, but I
number
think
12.
there's probably I think you're gonna see things revert back to what we've seen in years past, where you see a lot more running backs going in the first round. You know, the way these years played. Like I don't like is it crazy to think that like where do you slot in Bucky? Like as good as Bucky Irving has been this year. And I don't really know what they do next year because I mean it's clear that he's the RB1. Like he's the better running back between him and
Yeah.
Rashad White. And so, like, and I don't think that he's a player that, like, he's kind of like a Devon Achane type where he's never going to be a player that's going to get 20, 25 touches a game. Like, it's just never going to be him. But, like, 15 to 20 is definitely in the range of outcomes. Like, he's been the most efficient running back in the league this year, kind of like Devon Achane's been. And so, like, I think there's a real argument that Bucky's going to be somewhere in that conversation. If the Bengals don't do anything, which is I like this is one of the narratives I have for this. I really don't want them to fire Zach Taylor. I want them to bring Zach Taylor back, and I want them to stick with Chase Brown, which I think those things are all very, very possible. Because I mean, Chase Brown's still under his rookie contract. They have a lot of players to pay. I don't see them investing heavily in a running back in the draft, and so like Chase Brown could also be a player that's going in the first round next year because of that just massive workload. Now to see it up being like a landmine, like we see so often, where these players that have this awesome, second half of the season, everybody hypes them up, they end up going in the first round, and then they fall off a cliff, possibly, but the role that he has is so elite that like I could see him also being in that conversation.
Yeah, and Neighbors too. If the Giants get a good quarterback in the draft, like Shedeur.
Yeah, he's going to be in the
Ward.
conversation. Yeah, and then I mean, there's wide receivers are probably not thinking. I mean, the wide we have so many wide receivers that got hurt this year.
Yeah, the injuries.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, he's definitely. I think he's probably a second round pick next year. Brian Thomas says, because I mean, he's the real deal. I mean, and we talk about quarterback play. Like he's not like he's played with great quarterback play this year. I mean, it's been Mac Jones and and Trevor Lawrence, and obviously Trevor Lawrence is still going to be there. But honestly, I mean, I think just getting Doug Peterson out of there, I think will go a long way. Because Doug Peterson,
Lamb's another one we didn't mention. I would absolutely have Lamb in the first round too.
That's fair. Yeah. CeeDee Lamb would also be in the conversation. Yeah. That's why I said, like, I don't have a full list of like everybody in front of me. I'm just looking at my rankings for this week, which doesn't really help.
Right. Which, yeah, it doesn't include the injured guys.
Yeah. But yeah, CeeDee Lamb is definitely in there as well. So, speaking of that, as a Cowboys fan, you think they bring back McCarthy?
Yeah, it sounds like all the reports and stuff that have keep coming out is that the players want McCarthy back. So I guess we'll see. I don't know. It's Jerry's never made a big firing like that when the key players have been hurt for most of the year. It's typically when they've been healthy and didn't meet expectations. That's when Garrett got fired.
I swear to God, if we get an overtime game,
oh, it's going to be overtime with how this game's going.
Caleb Williams has 47 minutes to throw the ball. Who is that?
What a throw!
Odunze?
It's Rome.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they're going to draft Ashton Jeanty, right? That's who they're going to draft in the first round.
Yes, I do know that. And I'm shaking my head because that would be so stupid. But that's the most Cowboys pick ever.
Yeah. What they need is to find is a wide receiver too, is what they need to find. Where they're picking in the draft, like it would be a perfect spot to draft like a Luther Burden or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, your Mizzou fandom is showing.
Well, I mean, he's going to be a top 20 pick next year, so
he's good.
No, he's phenomenal.
He's good.
He's right there with him and Tet McMillan. But yeah, Tet, he's right there.
Tetaroa.
So, but there's a lot of like this next upcoming draft is going to be a lot of fun too. So, anyways, all right. Give everybody a 2-minute warning too. It's still nothing. So, anyways, we'll go ahead and get out of here. Been live for about 40 minutes. Yeah, I figured it was going to be a pretty quick show just because of the circumstances. But keep it locked in here. We still got or if you play DFS, we'll be back in tomorrow night for DFS breakdown for the week 8 for the 8-game slate on Sunday. That should be interesting to talk about. Don't really talk about many 8-game main slates, but so I think you can actually consolidate some stuff. So keep it locked in here. We'll be back for that. And then, me and Cody will start pumping out some more off seasons.
Got a buzzer beater.
Where did these come from all of a sudden?
Got a buzzer beater.
Yeah. Maurice, hello, my team. Need a little help. Tight end, Okonkwo or Janu?
Janu.
Yeah,
Easily Janu.
I would agree with you. Yeah.
Wait, Cody, help. Cody is in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Team money, Eagles or Chargers defense. I put a starting. Steelers put up 0.
Chargers. Even though they've been awful.
Does it change your mind at all, though, that without CeeDee Lamb?
It does. Yeah. No, that's a good point. And Eagles defense has actually been good. I was just thinking about, Cooper Rush has actually been decent. The Cowboys have put up points, but yeah, without Lamb, that didn't even cross my mind. Yeah, I would definitely go Eagles.
My son, who's he's in a championship game of his friends league of his little buddies. I mean, they're 13 years old, 13 and 14, and he played against Lamar,
oh God,
Xavier Worthy, and somebody else. They already have 68 points.
Yeah, that's tough.
And he didn't have anybody. And then we were sitting there today, and I got the notification. I was like, "Oh, hey man, CeeDee Lamb's out," and just look on his face, just disgust. I'm like, "Welcome to fantasy football, bro. Welcome to fantasy.
Welcome."
Football. Yeah. So, but anyways, I will say with the Chargers situation, I will say in that game that you have Drake May, who has been sacked 5 times, 4 of his last 5 games, has turned the ball over 10 times, or that not Drake May, but the Patriots have turned the ball over 10 times over their last 3 games as well. So the Chargers do set up as a really good defense in that spot. But I would say without CeeDee Lamb, I think the Eagles become really interesting because I don't know how the hell they're going to move the ball. I know Rico Dowdle, but you can't really run the ball against the Eagles. And then who the hell else is doing anything?
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
It really makes that team one dimensional. So I think I'd go with the Eagles here.
I would go Eagles as well.
So all right. Anyways, let's go ahead and get out of here. Appreciate everybody. Like I said, we'll have a lot more content. We're going to be doing a lot of off-season content, a lot of NFL draft stuff. We're going to be covering. Yeah, Jake Ferguson. Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
So, but anyways, we'll be back in tomorrow night for the DFS stream. So we still got a lot of content coming. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Appreciate all the support this year. Appreciate all the questions and the comments and everything. It's been a lot of fun. And like I said, we're not going anywhere. We got a lot more content to come. I think we're gonna try to do some best ball content this year. I know we talked about it last year, but for real, we're for realsies this time. We're going to do it this year. For sure. So, anyways, have a good night. See you on the next one. Appreciate you, Maddie, for jumping on and helping me out.
Yeah, man. You got it.
Bye.